Hey everybody, this is Resonant Yes, and big news, exciting news. Well, I think so anyway. We have now an Instagram dedicated to Love and Brief, dedicated to the podcast. If you've been following me at Resonant Yes on Instagram, you know that every time an episode comes out, I will let the world know. The problem is I do not have a public account. I have to vet and thumbs up everybody. And so Teddy had a great idea to just go ahead and make a Love and Brief account on Instagram. So if you are an Instagram user, great way to find out about the moment that podcasts are added, as well as announcements and conversations. Just follow Love and Brief on Instagram. That's all one word, Love in Brief. And if you can't find it, write to me. I'll point you that way. But look for Love and Brief on Instagram, and let's get on with the show. Welcome to Love in Brief, a brief ABDL advice podcast focused on issues of love, as the name suggests. That's all kinds of love. That's love for yourself, and love for others, and love for your community, the ABDL world, and love for all kinds of different play and fun and exploration and things that maybe you didn't even know you loved. And I think we may have found one of those things here today.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Lola, you brought us this topic, and I am so glad that you did, because this is something that you are interested in.
It is. We're going to be talking about pet play, friends.
Woof, woof. I dig it.
No, meow.
Oh, well, meow, meow on your account, yes. So this is something that you've developed an interest in. You saw that it was a thing and just went, ooh, isn't that something? So I can't wait to hear more about why you're passionate about this.
Yes, I'm very excited. And our guests today are people that first brought us some of this information. So I'm very excited to hear from them.
I'm fanboying a little bit because, because I have seen their pet play exhibition at CAPCon. I was immediately enamored. They also did an awesome talk about consent, and we'll talk in a second about the burlesque show.
Yeah, and they also run the Dark Age Playroom.
Yeah.
They have a lot of hats.
Yeah, they wear a lot of hats, and just some of them have ears. So let's welcome Scout and Mouse to Love and Brief. I'll start with you, Scout. The question I always ask is, tell us about your love, something that you love right now.
Well, thank you, RY. My love right now is Mouse.
Oh, stop.
What a perfect answer, especially when you're in the same room.
Yes, and as the news gets out on FetLife that we did get engaged, I think that it is the perfect time for my love to be Mouse, and yes, my wonderful slave girl here.
Well, I feel like having my love be literally anything else now is like wrong.
That's true. Yeah, if you were like Captain Crunch, he might be like, oh.
Well, I was going to say that my love is building bridges between communities. Which is also my love.
That's a great love.
But
you can have lots.
Yes, those my two big loves right now is my new fiance, who also happens to be a master, and building bridges between different subcultures in our community, especially the kink community, as a broad sense.
Yeah, and you're doing that right now today.
Yeah.
Right here on this podcast. I cannot just blow through the news that you just shared, that you just got engaged. How long ago was it?
4 days?
4 days ago.
Whoa, this is so new.
This is so exciting.
Very new, very exciting.
Congratulations. That's super exciting. Is it going to be a kinky ceremony, do you think?
The ceremony, probably not so much, but the after party is a whole nother story.
Yes.
We had a collaring ceremony a couple years ago, because I'm officially collared, and that was kind of our kinky us ceremony, but we have talked about having dual receptions, as it were.
Yeah. If you're going to send an invite, I'll take that second one. The one down in the dungeon. That one sounds pretty fun. Yeah, the fun
for
one.
the folks and for the animals.
They can both be
exactly.
fun.
We had talked about doing the same, a collaring ceremony, and we need to do a whole episode on that, because that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. And also our fake wedding, because we just want to have a big fun party sometime.
Without having to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk pet play. Scout and Mouse, you've shared a little bit about your love for each other and for building community, but what is it? What is pet play, and why do you love it?
You want to take?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
So pet play is the act of taking on an animal headspace and doing animal roleplay. And the reason that I love it is because it helps me to really let go and lose myself and go into an altered headspace and give up all of my like control and responsibilities. Because when was the last time you saw a dog stressed about taxes?
Yeah, I would say too, like what I like to add about like an intro to pet play, especially when we're talking in relation to ABDL and age play, is that it is another form of regression. It is a regressive headspace, at least for most people.
That's so good.
Sorry. Yeah, it is. And that's kind of how I got into it. I started in age play, and then I took a pet play class at CAPCon too long ago. And I saw people running around as pets, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And my original pet play headspace was actually a kitten headspace, and I used it as a way to channel my natural brattiness that I was already channeling through my age play headspace as well. So I think a lot of people find an in that way.
I'm just watching Lola nod her head vigorously. Does this sound familiar, Lola?
Yeah, I think that I've been interested just here and there over the last few years about lots of different kinks, and pet play was one of them. And when I saw, that Scout and Mouse were hosting a Pet Play 101 class last Cap, I was like, ooh, Daddy, please, can we go to this one? I want to learn more. And I think for me, I also most identify with being a kitten as well right now, and that's something that we've just started playing with. But for me, I think it's more closely related to my submissive space. But as we've played, it's interesting. I've noticed. So I am not an age player. I wear diapers. I love interacting with littles and having fun, but I don't identify as an age player. But what's interesting is I've found as we've gotten into kitten play that that's sort of my little space. It's a way that I get to, I notice when I want to do it, it's when I want to be like loved and held and just pet and like soft and cuddle up next to you, much like I think some littles are.
I think there are a lot of similarities in headspace when it comes to pet play, but there are also a lot of differences. And like, for me, for example, I have two main pet play headspaces. I have that kitten headspace. That's a lot like you're describing it, Lola. And then I also have a puppy headspace, which is much more like service oriented and like obedience oriented. And I just want to be like the goodest puppy and do everything correct. But when I'm in that kitten headspace, I might knock something off the counter or scratch someone or walk away from them in a rude fashion. I'm just kind of lounging around doing whatever I want. So like you can play with different elements too that you're trying to achieve depending on what headspace you're going for.
It's remarkable to hear some of the very same, because I've never experienced pet play until I went to your talk at CAP, but to hear some of the same dynamics that I've seen expressed in BDSM circles at large when we talk about submission through service, for instance. This obedience concept comes through a lot in BDSM circles. And the idea of bratting comes through a lot in ABDL, and like maybe not totally listening, and the idea of being submissive to the point where you're just being taken care of and loved, and it's a soft space. And these are all like different dynamics that all fall into this, or can fall into this world of pet play. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on what you want to get out of it.
Yeah, and there are so many different interesting ways to express your pet side. It doesn't always have to be in a brat space or an obedience space or even a sexual space. And I've seen people be pets, only when it suits them, versus I've seen people play as pets every time I see them out in a public play space, and they're just always a dog.
Like Master calls me puppy every single day, or calls me dog, which I think is really endearing. But I'm also like a super degradation person as well, so I think it also plays into that. But
oh, sure, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not limited either to like, oh, you're either a puppy or a kitten. Like I have seen people pet play orangutans. I have seen people pet play bunnies, squirrels, raccoons, everything you could probably think of. You know, foxes are an obvious one, but
Pony play falls under that.
Pony play, yeah, I've seen a huge broad network of pet play, and some people even don't consider it a regressive headspace. It is more of a primal headspace for them.
Say more about that.
That makes a lot of sense.
A primal headspace.
It's a way to tap into letting go of more of your human instincts, but not necessarily driving it towards a different instinct or like a specific goal, like obedience.
You're getting rid of your higher functions and essentially just letting your body take over for what it wants to do.
Right, and like a lot of like ape or monkey headspaces do tend to sway that way when I've talked to people that do pet play in that area, because when you talk about primal, most people only talk about primal in the case of a sexual type of play, because they're talking about like growling and scratching while they're engaging in sex or like roughhousing. But there's a whole other side of primal where people are just following their most guttural instincts and want to feel free to pursue that for a while under supervision, and that's kind of what that looks like.
I think that's so fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, and especially when you talk about all the different animals, and I think sometimes in age play, specifically that part of ABDL, that we do get kind of locked in sometimes to thinking pretty narrowly about our age play options, right?
Yeah.
And people say I'm either newborn or toddler or, you know, something like that.
Or middle, but yeah.
So, and sometimes you hear middle, right? That's less common, but it's there. Sometimes, you know, you, Lola, will be like, I'll be a teenage babysitter. That sounds fun.
Hell yeah.
That sounds fun. So that's a type of, it's an age shift, right? You rarely hear people, though it's a thing, you know, play older.
Yeah.
Though it's definitely a thing. What you're describing in pet play opens up such a pantheon of choices.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a fucking rhino some days. You know, I want to just be an absolute fucking brute.
Yeah. I love that there is so many choices. And also, there's a little part of my brain going, maybe that's too many choices. So I'm wondering, like, if there's someone who is interested in this but hasn't really thought about it, like, where might one start even thinking about it? Like, are you looking at traits that you're maybe wanting to have that you don't, you know, naturally instinctually have? Or like, how would one even start looking for like, oh, maybe I'm this and I would like to play like this?
Well, I think that very similarly to the way that your previous guest who was discussing furries and baby furs was talking about, you can have as many different pet headspaces as you want. And the way that I started going through it is I was first exposed to puppy play because there are an awful lot of puppies out there. And so that's where I started. And that very much came from my headspace of wanting to be obedient and wanting to follow instructions and wanting to be a good boy, TM. But I also now have a pony play headspace and a cow headspace, and all of these things are found just based on what I'm feeling in the moment. In the same way that you can have a whole bunch of personas, when you're feeling a certain way and you want to express the way that you're feeling, you can switch between those personas. You can switch between the pets that you want to play in pet play as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes it has a lot to do with almost like bodily awareness and listening to your, like, the way that your body naturally wants to. And oftentimes that will kind of reveal a pet headspace to you, if nothing else. If you're not following a specific avenue for a headspace, so if you're not, like, trying to explore regression specifically, or explore, like, service, or explore degradation, then, like, just listening to the way your body naturally wants to move, unrestricted by what society expects of it, can sometimes be very revealing.
I love that. And as you were speaking, Mouse, I was like, yeah. That makes so much sense because I have a background in dance and I'm very body aware and I love movement. And as you're describing this, I'm like, yeah, I think that's why I was drawn to wanting to be a kitty, because they are kind of sleek and mysterious and sultry and can be sexy. And that's the space I really wanted to explore and live in a little bit more. So I love that you can listen to your body, and that's a direction, you know, just that way. I love that.
Absolutely. And as we were talking, I was looking over at Mouse and I gave her a big old smile and she just started wiggling her butt. Like, you don't get any more dog than that visceral reaction of like, I'm happy, I gotta move, I gotta shake, I gotta do stuff. So it's all about following that, listening to that within yourself.
Especially as a neurodivergent person, like we have to find unique avenues for like healthy stims all the time. So having those healthy outlets as a pet player and not feeling shame about it, and even getting that support from your partner and encouragement, because he thinks it is adorable when I am like quote unquote wagging my tail when I get excited, because that's just like a natural stim that I do now. But it's also a really good outlet for that energy, and it helps regulate my nervous system.
That is so smart. That is so smart. I love that, because of course, right? Like if it helps regulate, it's a good stim, and it's an adorable little pet move. Everybody wins. And it's already natural for your body. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I have the body awareness of a carrot, so it's really intriguing to me to come from the other angle, because I'm hearing one way is to explore what your body's telling you. I have to go the other way. If I want to find my body, I have to go in through my brain first. And the thought of like what animal can I think of that would give me the feeling I want, right? So I went to rhino, because if I'm feeling, you were talking about primal, like I want to fucking just knock down a house. But on the days where maybe I want to feel soft and cuddly, what's my answer? On the days where I want to feel fast and lithe, what's my answer, right? They're agile.
As someone who takes a particular interest in animal behavior, even as a rhino, like you're not always going to be charging people, right? Rhinos probably would like nose around the house and be a little clumsy and kind of want to check things out with their face, right? In the same way that like big dogs think that they're lap dogs, rhinos that when they're calm, I imagine, are very curious.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
I think that suits you for sure.
And I love the idea of giving an animal name and behavior pattern to something that you're feeling inside, that your body is like, what if I tried this on?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, what a cool way to identify with something that's like deep inside of you that maybe you have trouble identifying with, like in a broader sense in the world and with people, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. And you don't always have to stick within the set confines of how you think an animal would act. Rye, if you want to be a bear, but just be like a super cuddly one. You don't have to always be like a big scary dog or a big scary rhino. You can be a cuddly rhino or a sleepy rhino or a baby rhino or a baby bear.
You also don't have to be anything label. You can just be a pet.
Yeah.
And let that be where it's at. I think sometimes we, just like you were talking about earlier, Rye, with like getting caught in this trap with age play of like putting a specific age on yourself, or trying to exert specific features, like putting labels on a pet right away sometimes does more harm than good, because you should have the freedom to explore it. And some people, they're like, I'm just a pet. I don't want to have a name. I don't want to be a label. I just want to move the way that I feel a pet that's me would move.
You could also just be a pet person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a pet person, say more about that.
So that moves into lifestyle and like DS kinds of things. And I have seen lots of human pets in a sort of degradation or sexual context, where a pet label is applied to somebody as a term of humiliation or degradation, or just leading someone around on a leash, or having them drink out of a bowl or eat off the floor, things of that nature. But you could also just be a pet person who follows your handler around on a leash and is really cute about it. It doesn't always have to be some big degrading sexual show of dark play.
Yeah, because like when he calls me his pet day to day, he's not talking about like I am currently acting like a kitten, so he's going to call me his pet. And I'm talking like obviously around kinky individuals who also consent to those kind of conversations. But like he's calling me his pet as almost like an endearing fashion, but not necessarily just purely an animalistic fashion. It plays into our everyday lifestyle dynamic as well.
There's something super hot too in that very casual, the sort of casual hierarchy and even a little bit of degradation built into my pet.
Yeah.
This was a common phrase at one point, wasn't it? In the 70s or something?
Or 50s, probably.
A pet
60s.
name.
It's a pet name.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you're both giving permission to just explore this. However, it doesn't have to be a box. And I think sometimes, especially like as a new person, like I want to try this pet play thing. I had a similar experience coming into ABDL. That's not something I was factory installed with. I had this moment of like, okay, this is what it looks like and this is what it should be. And it turns out I wasn't super happy in that, but I found what did make me happy in being in diapers and being submissive. And so I love, I think sometimes we see something and we're like, okay, now we just act like a puppy. And it might make people that actually could really have huge benefits and like happiness and joy out of being a pet, but putting a box around it and they don't fit into that. So I love how you both gave that permission. And even earlier when Scout said, like, you don't even have to do specific movements that are linked to dogs or whatever it is, because I was like, oh yeah, because I wag my tail when I'm a kitty. When I'm happy, I don't, cats don't do that. But that's like naturally what I do. Yeah.
Well, pet play is so accessible too, because you do what makes you feel the headspace. So if you have to move in a certain way because your body won't let you move in another way, you can adapt any of these pet headspaces to what you can do. You just move your body in the way that to you feels right.
And that's something that we try to be really big advocates of, and that we did touch in that class for quite a while, actually, because I feel it's a really important aspect of this topic, especially when it comes to pet play, is like, pet play can look really intimidating from the outside, especially because most of the representation in the pet play community is largely rooted in gay male leather culture. And that can be really intimidating. And that's actually something that I personally really struggled with. And that was something that Scout really helped move me through when we first met, because we were assistant directors of the dark room that year at CAPCon, and I knew that he was a puppy, and he just seemed like a super welcoming, easy to approach person. And I was like, hey, I'm a kitty. I really, really want to try this puppy headspace, but like, I just don't feel like welcome. And I feel like I'm going to be judged if I start doing puppy stuff, because especially even 4 years ago, it really wasn't known to be multiple pets. Like everyone kind of chose one, and you were just, oh, they're a kitty, oh, they're a puppy. And I was like, but I have both headspaces, and I want to explore. I don't want to have to give up the kitty just to be a puppy.
Well, and you go to all of these pet play events too, or these. When I started, I mean back 10 years ago when I got into the kink community, you'd go to a pet play event, and it might not even be called pet play. It would just be called, this is a puppy play event. Yeah. Oh yeah, also other pets are welcome.
Yeah, right.
But you even the mosh at CAPCon several years ago, you go in there, and even today, you walk into the mosh and you see a big pile of puppies. And there's nothing wrong with a big old puppy pile. Don't get me wrong.
What's more adorable than a puppy pile? Yeah.
Exactly. But we're starting to see a lot more diversity happening in the pet play community, not only with the types of pets that people are choosing, but the types of people that are coming into the pet play scene and deciding to be more active and take that leap, even though it's an intimidating space to get into sometimes.
And what Scout told me that day when I was kind of confessing to him a little bit was just like, do what makes you happy and screw everyone else. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear at this podcast, so I'll
Hell yeah.
Yes.
No, go for it.
Fuck yeah.
Do what makes you happy and fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
Don't worry about them, and if anyone gives you shit, come talk to me about it. And I was like, yes, sir.
Love that.
And so I started exploring my puppy headspace. And so we do try to advocate for that a lot, because I do see a lot of hesitance from new or like prospective pet players of like, oh, I want to try this out, but I'm AFAB bodied. I want to do a pet that isn't really popular. I don't have money for gear that I want to spend on it, but I still want to participate in pet play stuff. And it's just like, get in there and be known, because you are just as legitimate as every other pet in that mosh. But you do have to carve out a space for yourself sometimes. And it is getting better. But as long as there are those of us around who don't fit that mold, I think it helps with that representation and bringing new people in, because it shows them that it is possible.
And we're going to try and keep making those spaces available, especially at CAP. I mean, with like the quiet mosh is the perfect place if you've never come into a pet play space before. Everybody's really chill, it's really quiet, And I pupped out during that mosh.
Yeah, we got some kitties. We even got a bunny in that mosh that I had a great conversation with about inclusion. Yeah, we're always trying to make improvements.
I'm wondering if either of you, if you can speak to what is a mosh and what would you find? And you're saying there's soft moshes and other kinds. What even is that?
So moshing is, at least from my understanding, granted, I never got a formal definition of what a mosh was, but from my understanding and the ones that I've put on, a mosh is just a big space for pets to interact. Generally, at least in the ones that I've been to and put on, we've had some fencing around a large padded area for all of the pets to be corralled into, and it's filled with toys or games or interactables. And generally around the outside of that pet area, there is spaces for handlers and owners and folks that are just interested in, I don't know, maybe giving out treats and supervising the pets, especially making sure that they are staying hydrated and staying safe. Now, the difference between a hard mosh and a soft mosh, hard moshes tend to get a little bit rough. A lot of puppies are playing wrestling with each other or flipping each other over and pushing each other around, establishing dominance and submission.
I would love to see some ponies at a hard mosh.
Ponies at a hard mosh would be a nightmare. People would get trampled for sure.
There'd be a lot of kicking involved, yeah.
There would be a lot of kicking involved.
I want a little pony corral.
Well, okay, a pony corral, as long as there are other ponies in there.
Yeah.
And not just like a pony rampaging through a mosh full of bunnies and dogs and cats.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because I am heavy hoofed. And then a softer mosh is dedicated towards much more affectionate play, towards much more soft, quiet interaction. We played quieter music.
Cuddle puddles happen.
Yeah, giant cuddle puddles.
Is this a cuddle puddle?
People take naps.
Absolutely. I definitely took a nap in all my puppy gear last year.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just a quieter, more approachable space for somebody who might be a little bit more shy, or somebody whose pup space might be like, I'm a really old dog and all I do is sleep.
Oh, I want that one.
Yeah.
Well, and also during our rough moshes, we've historically had like guard dogs as well, who will actually just sit on the outside of the main play space and observe and supervise and make sure that like they help us as DMs to make sure that like people are getting water, and they make sure that no one's looking like faint or like starting to get too fatigued, and they also like step in if needed to like correct other pets if they're getting out of hand in their own pet headspace, which can be really helpful.
And that's not something that we've asked them to do. That's like their pet headspace.
Wow.
And they'll
so cool.
sit up on the highest part of the room, whether that's a piece of furniture or just next to the mosh area, and post up on all fours and be a guard.
I love that. And thank you for saying that. That was actually my next question, was like, are there rules? How do we know we're being safe? So yeah, thank you for addressing that.
So absolutely, there are definitely rules. First and foremost, spiky collars, really hot. Spiky gear, really hot, excellent, fantastic choice, especially when it's all polished up. Not great for moshing. We're not trying to stab anybody. Secondly, no hanging articles off of you. So badges, lanyards, long hair sometimes needs to be put up, things like that. And then it's really up to the handlers, if they are there for a specific pet, or the pets themselves, to keep themselves hydrated. And we as DMs for these moshes will also make announcements, making sure that periodically people are getting up, going and taking a break, because these get sweaty, these get active, these get hot, especially the neoprene gear gets really hot, it's not super breathable. So making sure people are staying safe and knowing their own limits.
Yeah, I would say, especially with rough moshes, is where we have a bigger concern for physical safety, because people are just getting a little bit more rough with each other. So like, we hosted the moshes in the dark room this last year, and it went really well, but we had a capacity limit, and we had people tuck their lanyards into their shoes so that they didn't have to worry about anything hanging or dangling or getting torn off, and kind of made a public service announcement about anything spiky.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we try to keep a very close eye on making sure that people are staying hydrated, but also that they're not actually hurting each other in ways that are not consensual.
Yeah, and I was going to use that word. So I assume that the rules of consent that are sort of broader umbrella BDSM rules also apply, and then these are additional safety precautions that you take when you're doing a mosh.
Yes, so they absolutely still apply. The difference is that negotiation can look very different. If you're in a pet headspace, and I'm going to default to puppy because that's what I am most of the time. If you're in a pup headspace and you want to wrestle with another puppy, what does a dog do to ask if it wants to play? You put your head down, your shoulders on the ground, and you wiggle your butt up in the air. So these negotiations are super important, and they can happen non-verbally in terms of pet play. Now, it's a little bit different if you're brand new to this, because you might not know all of the non-verbal cues. You might not know all of the non-verbal signals. And so jumping into something like the hard mosh right away can be really intimidating, because puppies might want to play with you, or animals might want to play with you with toys, and you just don't get it. So it's also important to sort of sit back and observe the language that the pets are using with each other. And that can be saying, using our words and saying, hey, can we play with this ball together? Or it could just be, I'm going to bat this ball at you. And if you want to play, you're going to bat it back. And if you don't bat it back, I'm going to move on to somebody else.
Yeah, right.
Moshes do tend to be a little bit more fluid in language in that way. I had an instance last year where I got into the rough mosh, and I had someone keep coming up to me and trying to pat my head. And I don't necessarily like people putting their hands all over me like that. So I kind of backed up at first. And he didn't get the picture, and he walked back up to me. He was like, "Oh, puppy!" And then he scratched my head again, and I sat back and I gave him one big bork, and he got the message, and he backed up with his hands up. He actually came up to me later and was like, "I'm so sorry. I think that was you, but I didn't realize." And I was like, "That's okay." And I just gave him a little rundown of what to expect going forward. That actually gives me an idea. Maybe we should do a pet play consent class at some point, because I feel like that might really benefit the community.
Yeah. Yeah, on our last question roundup, we talked a bit about consent, and it's wonderful to have renewed focus on it here in this episode. And it was actually, I believe, Scout, your consent talk that introduced me to the FRIES acronym. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm taking credit for the FRIES acronym.
I'm
the one that put it out there.
Mouse did it.
Mouses.
Yay.
Okay, thank you, Mouse.
Yeah.
But we talk about FRIES, meaning freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific consent. And it's interesting because I was running through that in my head when you were talking about the puppy thing and how puppies interact. And actually, you can check the box on a lot of those, right? You can do freely given. You can, if you understand the rules of the engagement, which should be shared by the dungeon masters, right? It's reversible. Informed is a process of basically saying, do we understand what's happening? They're communicating this, let's say, by rolling the ball towards you, etc. Enthusiastic is very clear. It can be made very clear. And specific depends on what it is, right? But it can be made very specific through body language. So it's interesting to kind of run those consent rules through.
Yeah. A wholly different lens.
Yeah,
cool.
pet play. I think that's really cool.
And the beauty about pet play, and especially moshes too, when we're talking about consent in moshes specifically, is it is totally acceptable at any point in time to just stand up and take your gear off, or just snap out of headspace and be like, nope, I'm done, or I need to take a break, or nope, this isn't what I want to do, or become verbal at any point in time, and that's not considered faux pas necessarily. So
yeah. That's great. That's a great reminder too. I would love to. We've thrown out a couple of terms, and you mentioned an earlier episode we did on furs and baby furs. What's the difference between pet play and furries and baby fur play?
All right, as a furry and a pet player, this is something that I love to talk about. So I see them almost as polar opposites of each other.
Interesting.
When you are a furry, you are an animal taking on human characteristics. And when you are a pet player, you are a human taking on animal characteristics. So I see them as sort of two sides of the same coin, but they are very opposite of one another.
That's so interesting. A human taking on animal characteristics in pet play, and furries would be a sort of anthropomorphized animal turned into a person or persona.
Exactly. One talks instead of barks, and the other barks instead of talks.
Very good.
Yeah, I guess like for me and what I've observed too, as far as the difference goes, is pet players tend to try to channel specific like emotions through that they already are experiencing through themselves with that pet player more primal headspace, whereas furries tend to like to focus on building a personality, building a character that may be linked to themselves or maybe more of an ideal self. But it is a very specific character that they spend time fleshing out that is not necessarily representative of like their normal emotions and normal personality throughout the day.
I see. So you can just embody a pet, I want to say persona, but you can embody that pet headspace sort of instantaneously. It's not something you're necessarily building over time. You're embodying a feeling you want to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you are expressing the feelings that you are currently having in a animalistic way.
Yeah. Cool. I want to talk in a minute. It's an ABDL podcast. I would hate to make it through a whole episode without talking about ABDL stuff, and particularly diapers and how they overlap. Before I get there, I know, Mouse, that you are a gearhead, that you love talking about gear. So this is a tough ask, but if somebody wanted to explore starter gear, and I understand you don't need gear to be a pet player. You can just be a pet player. But if somebody were to start to explore maybe their first pair of ears or tail or whatever it happens to be, do you have any advice for where they should go just to kind of explore without having to break the bank on their first try?
I do. Number one, get yourself a pair of knee pads. Some knee pads, because safety needs to come first. And if you plan on being on all fours, knee pads are an absolute necessity.
I did not see Home Depot as your first recommendation, but now I got it.
Home Depot, sporting goods stores. I'm an Amazon person myself. You can find really affordable ones on Amazon.
Sporting goods stores can also be great for paws.
Yes, and boxing gloves make great wrist protection. Again, if you are more of a knuckles on the floor kind of person. So that's where I would start. And then when you're looking at like a pair of tail, Halloween costumes can be a really cheap and accessible way to get into that. If you just go on Amazon or like a party light store and look for, dog costume, you will get like a simple pair of ears and tail. Oh my god.
Our cat is squeezing himself through a window.
Oh no, is he okay? Fit.
He's fine.
Yeah,
it's a window into this room.
He's just gonna sit on my lap because apparently that's the only way to make him happy.
Oh, cats are liquids. I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Well, we've had this window open this exact height for like 2 weeks now. It's the first time he's squeezed through the thing.
Way to go, cat. I think it's fun that your cat inserted themselves into
Excuse me, this is about pet play.
Into our pet discussion.
And this is about me, obviously.
Ironically, we locked my dog out of this conversation. Yeah.
We attempted to.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried.
But sorry. So yeah. Like Halloween costumes can be a really good, easy way to start. Like when we've been exploring his cow headspace, I just got a little cow tail and cow ears off of Amazon with some cow pattern briefs, and that's what we've been using to explore it.
What? Cow pattern briefs? That's so cute.
Yeah, they are really adorable, and they look really good on him.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's where I would start just for like a low budget gear. I know that like I always preach gear is not a necessity to play. However, I am one of those people that really benefits from having gear, and I really struggled to get into, especially my puppy headspace, until I had gear. And for me, it was a lot about facial expressions because I'm really self-conscious about the facial expressions I make, and maybe there are other people like that out there too. But like having a hood to put over my face so I didn't have to worry about how that was being perceived did wonders for me to be able to actually regress into my puppy headspace and stop being in my head so much about it. So there are cheap hoods that you can get as well. There are knockoff hoods. If you're on a budget, don't feel bad about it. Go ahead and get one of those. I will say most of those hoods are modeled after the Mr. S leather hoods, which is what I own. I own a neoprene one from them. They designed that iconic puppy hood look that you think of when you think Pet Play Puppy. They're the ones that designed that. They're a small business out of San Francisco, and I try to support them when possible. They have leather and neoprene ones. You can get them custom made. They're super high quality. So when you're ready to invest, that's what I would suggest for hoods if you like that classic look. If if I would have known I was going to get asked about gear, I would have brought a list. But there's other.
No, this is why I didn't tell you, because I know you would have brought a list.
Thanks so much.
Rough stuff at sea.
I should. Yeah, rough stuff is another good one for
More open hood designs.
And I think they also have some like tiger ones and stuff like that, so I have a little bit more variety. Etsy is a great resource for alternative pet play headspaces if you're looking for hoods and tails. Etsy's a great resource for tails because you find tails of all sorts on there.
Do you just search like pet play tails?
Yeah, you can search like kitten tails or like kitten play or pet play. It should come up and you should find some. I have some of my personal favorites that I can send you after the fact if you want them.
Momentary gear safety moment. Please, for the love of everything in the world, do not wear plug tails to moshes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Because they tend to get tugged.
Of course.
Like a butt plug.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Tail. Yeah.
Yep.
Which are super cool and they're super fun. I have one myself and they're great to have during a scene, but I would suggest only having them on during a closed scene. I would not suggest wearing them in public. Even like, and when I say in public, I mean like public kink spaces.
It's all fun and games until someone gets their plug tail yanked
absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could do
sounds
damage.
awful.
So
Of course.
don't
Worse
do
than
that.
a leaky diaper in a ball pit.
They make
right.
what they call show tails, which basically just have a flared base that sits in a holster that you can then holster onto like a belt or something else.
I see. And for those who are unfamiliar, I should mention that a hood, if you've not seen one, is not like a hood you would think of on a cloak. This is the ears and the headpiece,
Like a
and
full
sometimes
sort of
the
face mask.
face mask. Yeah.
Over the head.
Like think of a ski mask, but it has like a muzzle attached to the front of it, and it's made out of neoprene.
They're super cool looking.
I love how it's so accessible in like whatever way you want to get into it. Like I have just a couple of pair of kitty ears, and my favorite ones that I wear were from Amazon. They were literally like $3. So yeah, I love how if you want to go all gears in, which I totally get because I am that way about diapers and all of the things. I need all of my choices. But there are lots of different accessibility points.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about diapers.
You got to.
This is a
diaper pervs like me. You got to talk it.
Yeah. So I just am wondering, how can we in the ABDL community like interplay these things? The first thing that comes to mind for me, because I'm a pee weirdo, that's why I like diapers mostly for lots of reasons, but I really like that.
Yeah.
Is like, ooh, puppy pads or kitty pads. And I'm even thinking like, ooh, you could even just like lay out a diaper and be like, well, I'm not going to put this on you right now, but you're going to use it like a kitty or puppy or something. But how might someone start, if they're interested, bringing this into their ABDL relationship or their ABDL kink or lifestyle?
So, yeah, for me, I am the same way. I am a mess and pee weirdo when it comes to diapers. And so the way that I bring diapers into my pet play is by using it to control bathroom usage. Dog, cat, cow, horse, we're not going to the bathroom and sitting on the potty to do our business. We're doing it where we are, when we have to go. So diapers are a fantastic way to get that lack of control feeling.
Yeah.
That is such an overlap with those who are like, I want a baby play, like somebody who can't control when I go.
Right.
Absolutely. And obviously, following bystander consent rules, making sure that everybody is consenting or you're in a private area or at an outdoor type event. Making your dog go to the bathroom out by a tree or a fire hydrant is so hot.
That is so goddamn hot.
I have
and
to
it's
say,
so doable with a diaper.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I have to say that of anything from that pet play class, RY talks about the story of having to wear a diaper and
To the fire hydrant.
to the fire hydrant, maybe squat down a little bit. He's mentioned it many times.
Yeah. I think that's hot as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that you can get away with in a very non-kink forward way so that you are respecting that bystander consent of people outdoors.
Yeah, and I wonder if you'd be willing to share just because I love these concrete specific examples.
Me too.
Are you willing to share that story? Like what are you wearing? What do you look like? How do you do this in a way that is bystander friendly
Yeah.
and still have this experience?
Absolutely. So the scene in question was a turnabout scene that Mouse did with me.
For a little bit of context, I am generally strictly a bottom and a sub, but a couple times a year we will switch roles because Scout is a switch and he really enjoys it.
We're bringing that back. We're doing like every episode. We're like, we need to do the Switch episode. Thank you guys for underscoring. We need to do the Switch episode.
Yeah, no problem.
and getting that Switch and sub time in for me is paramount and 100% a necessity. So
Heard.
When we do Switch, we tend to go pretty hard with it. And so this particular scene, Mouse had me put on a diaper, and I think I had like been wearing it all day, so it was already pretty wet at this point. And she made me put on clothing over the top of it, standard street clothes. I think it was like, it might have been September or October, so it was a coolish day outside, and we put on jeans, t-shirt over the top of it, and she walked with me around the block a couple times until I had to pee again. And I think this might have been preceded by having to drink a bowl of water off the kitchen floor before I left.
And then I told you we weren't allowed to go back inside until you went potty outside.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so she made me walk around the block until we got to the fire hydrant, and then each time we passed the fire hydrant, she would make me squat and try to pee.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Just right down next to the fire hydrant as if he was like retying his shoe or something like that. And it to an undiscerning eye, it wouldn't look off whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
exactly
amazing.
Except for the fact that his face was beet red.
and I have had play partners in the distant past who have done similar things with me, but for messing as well. And that's just easier. You just stay upwind of or downwind of people.
Yeah.
A couple other ways to incorporate diapers into pet play that I've seen and done is just like, if you want to do long-term pet play regression, being in a diaper makes that very possible because you don't have to worry about that single logistic.
Putting someone in a crate.
Yep, putting someone in a crate where you might not logistically have room for something else. And then the other thing that I see a lot of puppies do is shove each other's faces in their diapers as a part of play.
Oh, okay. I see.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because particularly dogs do have this sort of ritual of greeting that involves putting your face in somebody else's butt.
Yeah.
So
we just saw that
makes a
literally
whole lot of
yesterday
sense.
at the dog park.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Well, and when they stop and sniff on their walks, they're sniffing each other's pee.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
This is so fun. I mean, what strikes me most, I think, is the freedom of pet play, the wide open spaces of pet play. That it's not just the number of animals, but even within any given animal or lack of animal, just pet, your options are limitless. You can take on any headspace you want. It's about your interpretation, which is, to me, the fun of kink in general, right? Like whenever somebody tells me that kink, that it's limited to some part of my experience, I'm like, that ain't kink, not for me. So pet play seems to really embrace that, the way you're describing it. The other piece is that I just see so many parallels where the things that I love about ABDL play are echoed in pet play and give me sort of an entree into this world that I didn't know could be appealing to me.
Yeah. It's just like broadening the whole area, right?
Yeah.
Like it just keeps getting, like the colors keep leaking further out and out and
Yeah.
out. And I love that.
When you talk about things like it from my dominant side, sort of taking control of somebody's bathroom habits or being able to give them commands and looking for obedience and disciplining until you get the obedience that you expect.
Yeah.
And taking care of something that can't take care of itself and taking care of something adorable. These are all, like, for me, very ABDL Dom cues.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side, the idea of being submissive, the idea of being bratty, the idea of being unable to fully care for yourself, but also like wandering out of a conversation mid-sentence or whatever it happens to be that is like your sort of little space behavior totally makes sense for pet play too.
Yeah. And I'm just like thinking about our very limited exploration of this. And, you are we're in a 24/7 DS dynamic. So you are my Dom, but like, in kitty space, like you're really more my caregiver.
Yeah.
You're not my Dom.
And since you're not a little, this opens that opportunity up for me, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to Mouse and I's 24/7 MS dynamic, which has a lot more crossover with our puppy play than when she's a kitten. Because when she's a kitten, she's knocking stuff off tables, she's being adorable, she's being bratty. But when she's acting as my slave, she follows instructions immediately, without a second thought, without hesitation, and makes whatever I want happen.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's in her pup headspace, it is the same way,
Yeah.
except I'm giving different commands, and I'm expecting different results.
Well, and that's like something we've been learning to navigate too as lifestylers that are in a 24/7 dynamic is like, I want him to be able to trust that I'm going to do service. And I also have a brat side. So like trying to balance the two and know when it is appropriate to brat and be playful, because that's something that we both also enjoy. Pet play makes that a little bit easier in that if we're like, oh, hey, let's have like a kitten night, then it's like, okay, like I want you to brat, and that's going to be a part of our dynamic while you're in this headspace, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. I love, too, that you're addressing the idea of negotiation for this, that it's even in a full-time MS dynamic where you're together all the time, it sounds like even going to be married, like you would expect, oh, we just know. But I'm still hearing that there are conversations that happen, and you might, especially if you're switching between different types of animals, how would your partner know which one and what headspace you want to be in unless you talk about it?
Even if your partner knows you 100% perfectly, which is not possible, but hypothetically, if that were the case, people change over time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they might know you 100% perfectly right this second, but tomorrow you might be different.
Well, and there are definitely days where, like, Mouse can roll in and out of various animal headspaces throughout the day. She'll roll right into puppy play from doing slave service for me, and it's a like perfectly seamless transition. And then there are also days when we really have to demarcate, all right, right now you're a kitten, right now you're a puppy, right now you're a slave, and we have to intentionally sit down and communicate with each other what's going on.
I can imagine, Scout, like when you say, hey, I want to be a puppy, there's a lot of momentum there in terms of culturally, especially in kink, what that means. If you come and say, I want to be a cow, I imagine that is followed by a conversation about what you mean by that and what you hope to get out of it, because you could be slowly, grazing on something and just feeling very still and very calm, or it could mean that you want to poop outside, or both. I don't know. But I imagine you have to talk about that.
And there's a lot to talk about there. My cow headspace is for my vor kink. It is for a completely different kink headspace, and it really only comes out in that context.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of contextual things that you need to talk through if you're bringing in a new pet headspace or you're trying something new out. And not every headspace is going to work for everybody either. You might be in a relationship with somebody and they love your pup headspace and they love your cat headspace, but they're really not in it for your pony headspace.
And especially if the headspace is new to you, you just might not know yet what you want from a partner when they're interacting with you in that headspace, or what that headspace looks like for you. So just having an honest conversation about hey, I have an idea, this is what that idea is, but I don't really know yet, this is new to me, can you help me explore this? And then just taking baby steps of trying it out for 10 minutes, and then you debrief afterwards. And after you've come down from your headspace, just talk about, we debrief after every single scene that we do. Even if it's just as short as hey, what did you like most? What did you want to change for next time?
Yeah.
And we both ask each other that question. And sometimes, honest to God, it's I don't want to change anything. That was perfect the way it was, and I have no notes. But it leaves us space to discuss when you called me dog in that context, I was more in a little puppy headspace, and that didn't make me feel good, or whatever.
Yeah.
The more communication you put into kink, and frankly, the more communication you put into a relationship period, the more you're going to get what you want out of that. Partners are not mind readers. I am certainly not a mind reader. So when I tell Mouse what I want to do during those turnabout scenes, it is very detailed, and just about everything except for telling her exactly what to say. And when she wants a specific type of scene out of me, or she wants to try a new type of service, she is going to tell me exactly what she wants, because we understand that I can't guess that from her, and she can't guess that stuff from me. So the more you communicate and the more time you put into getting to know the other person, the better your scenes are going to be.
And when headspaces overlap, that can make it even more complicated. Like Scout has a tendency when he gets little to also get puppy every single time. So when I see him starting to go down into that headspace, all of a sudden when I'm talking to him, his responses to me are not, yeah, they're, ah, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see. So we kind of play in the middle space between those headspaces as well.
Yeah. Man, your words on communication and relationships. I'm head nodding so hard that I'm gonna hurt something. It's just a rule for life, if not kink. But yeah, the more you communicate about what you want, the more likely you are to get it, and the more you debrief after a connection experience, the more likely you are to get what you want next time.
Yeah,
and to give what you want. Lola, are you stoked about this pet play thing or what?
Yes.
Yeah. I can see your ears wiggling. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you brought Scout and Mouse to Love and Brief. Thank you for that.
I'm so glad they chose to come and talk to us. But I want to go on for like 5 more hours, but
I do too.
We can't.
That's what I get for naming this podcast In Brief.
Yeah, in long.
In long. Love and long.
Well, we have loved being here as well. Thank you for having us.
Thank you both, sincerely. Really, I've been so excited about this. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of either of you, is that something that you are open to? And if so, how would they do that?
Yes, absolutely. So feel free to get a hold of me, Scout, on FetLife. I am Pup Scout Pony, all one word, all of my pet headspaces.
And I am Mischievous Mouse, but missing the first I in Mischievous. It's like MS Mischievous because someone took the one of Mischievous Mouse with the first I. So I am waiting for that account to become deactive so that I can finally swoop in. So no one sent them messages just to spite me. But yeah, so I'm on FetLife as Mischievous Mouse as well, and then I'm also on Discord as Mischievous Mouse, same spelling.
Also, come talk to us at CAPCon.
For sure.
Or anywhere else.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
We're always happy.
I was going to ask, are you going to be at Cap hopefully in the future? And is that something, do you like when people come approach you or if they have a question? Is that something?
Yes, absolutely. Cool. So we are definitely planning on being at CAPCon
for the foreseeable future, as long as they still want us.
And we also do classes around the Midwest, specifically in Chicago as of late, but we're looking to expand and do more classes outside of just Chicago. So, yeah.
And we live for people coming up to us at classes and conventions and CAPCon and saying and asking us questions or recognizing us or just starting a conversation.
Yeah, come say hi.
It is what drives us to do what we do.
Yeah.
That's great.
Y'all better be careful. You're going to find yourself on the Love and Brief panel at the next Cap if you like it that much.
They've already signed up.
Oh, no.
And go ahead and volunteer us.
Friends, thank you so much. And I should tell our listeners, we are going to create show notes, not just for those email addresses for Scout and for Mouse, but also for some of the suppliers that they talked about, Mr. S and Rough Stuff. So look in the show notes. We'll put links in there for that. But Lola, this has been so much fun.
Yes.
And friends, this has been another episode of Love in Brief.